Storm Watch 12 weather on News Watch 12.
Cool, cloudy, and foggy. That's a good way to really describe most of southern Oregon and northern California at this particular time. Temperatures east of the Cascades, we're into the 40s and a 51 right now in Christmas Valley, but a cool 44 in both Chemult and Klamath Falls. We're into the 50s for Siskiyou County, 51 in Montague, 57 right now in Mount Shasta City. We're 53 and in Medford, a mild 65 degrees in Brookings. We're zoomed in here into the Rogue Valley, and you can very well see the fog here in the Rogue Valley. The light shading, that's the fog. The black out to the east, that's the clear sky. So we're stuck in the fog for right now. And you can also see that extending down to the south. But as you get south of, say, Wairika and Weed, it starts to clear out. Mount Shasta City looking very nice at this time. East of the Cascades, you can also see that fog from Chemult all the way down through Klamath Falls. Klamath Falls, you've had some pretty poor visibility throughout this entire morning. You've been running around a quarter-mile visibility, but you can see east of the Cascades out towards Lakeview and Paisley looking very nice as well. That nice weather is not going to continue to last all that much longer. We do have increasing clouds offshore. That's not quite the fog, but you can see the green showing up, indicating rain echoes already showing up. From a big system that we have offshore, this is a very, very juicy atmospheric river that's going to be aimed right at the Pacific Northwest. It's going to change our weather for the next couple of days. In fact, this area of low pressure, when this gets closer to the region, this is going to create some pretty good wind in parts of the area. I'll show you that here in a bit. But in terms of the National Weather Service does have that flash flood watch for Josephine County and eastern Curry County for the day on Friday into Saturday as well, late Friday into Saturday for the rain that we're expecting. In fact, we're going to see that rain later this afternoon along the Oregon coast. That should push inland as we get closer to sunset. So most of the day today still should be dry, even though we're in the fog and you might be getting a little bit of some of those raindrops on your windshield. It's not necessarily rain, it's just the fog doing some little bit of some drizzle. But other than that, we'll stay dry until the rain actually becomes sustained, and then that rain will continue as we go overnight tonight. We get to tomorrow morning, we might see a little bit of a break, and then another round of rain. Could be heavy at times along the Oregon coast. That'll continue to push inland, and we'll get into the heavier rain as we get into the afternoon and into the early evening as well. And that'll continue to push off east of the Cascades as we go past midnight, and then things finally calm down by the time we get to Sunday morning. And we could see some fog again by then. Now, we've seen a little bit of rain, just a couple hundredths along the Oregon coast, but we're going to see a lot more than a couple hundredths over the next several days. In fact, what we're going to be looking at is inches of rain along the Oregon coast and a lot less once we get into the Rogue Valley and east of the Cascades. But we're generally looking at up to 3 inches possible along the Oregon coast and coast range, maybe up to 1.5 inches along the Oregon Cascades. Here in the western valleys, maybe upwards of 1/2 inch, and then less than about 0.2 inches for Shasta Valley and east side as well. Today we're looking dry, at least for the remainder part of the afternoon, but once we get towards the evening, that's when the rain is finally going to start to pick up. Forecast highs for today into the 60s for the most part, so pretty comfortable temperatures overall. 40s and 50s for the most part for tonight, with the exception of Lakeview at 39 degrees. So here's that high wind, or the wind advisory for the day on Saturday for wind gusts upwards of 50 miles an hour. Temperatures are going to be trending much cooler over the next several days, but here's your forecast for the Oregon coast. We'll drop into the 50s, plenty of rain each day. Next chance for somewhat of a dry day would be Wednesday of next week. For Northern California, we'll be in the 60s through this weekend, then temperatures drop into the 50s. Your real dry day, next dry day, would be Wednesday of next week. And the Klamath Basin, plenty of rain for the next several days. Temperatures going from the 60s to the 40s. So a much more noticeable drop in terms of your temperatures for the next several days. Cascades, same kind of scenario. You're going to be near 60 today, and then we'll be talking about snow, especially over by Crater Lake early into next week. So much bigger change of a pattern overall. Here in the Rogue Valley, we'll be near 70 today, still in the upper 60s, but we drop off into the 50s. Gets kind of breezy on Monday.